All right, welcome back, True Seeker. A lot of people are like, "What's up, Zach? Why didn't the Lakers close out 4-1? Pick up the 41st win all time against the Heat after the death of Kobe at 41?" I'll give you a few reasons. And there was a big clue that they were waving in front of every sports fan's face this week, and that is that the Lakers were 4-0 in the Black Mamba jerseys before last night where they lost in them. And a lot of my followers on Patreon were like, "I don't know, Zach, man. I'm worried they're going to fall to 4-1 in those jerseys." And they sure did. The Lakers fell to 4-1 in the Black Mamba jerseys in the season that Kobe Bryant died tragically, as it was reported January 26th, 2020, while traveling from Catholic Mass at the age of 41, along with his 13-year-old daughter. And of course, in Gematria, LA's 41 and 13. Kobe Bryant's 41. There's just so much more to say about that, and we will. Again, if you're new here, we've been talking about Kobe Bryant and Gianna's death and the riddles off of it. I have a new book out now, Number Games. Huge chapter in here on Kobe Bryant's death. And there's just so much to say, but anyway, notice they wrote... Sporting News put out yesterday that the Kobe Bryant Black Mamba jerseys debuted January 26, 2018. I'm going to go back and look in history and find out and confirm that this is true, but if that's true, that means that these jerseys debuted 2 years to the day of his reported death. And then he's dead at 41, and coincidentally, the Lakers fall to 4-1 wearing the jerseys the season of his passing. But of course, the big part of the story was that he died, and there were others in the helicopter with him, including his 13-year-old daughter. And it turns out this Sunday, again, Kobe and his daughter died on a Sunday traveling from Catholic Mass. But this Sunday happens to be on the calendar Father-Daughter Day. Isn't that weird? Father-Daughter Day. October 11th, this Sunday. And what's interesting about this Sunday is it has 61 date numerology. Finals equals 61. Also has 41 date numerology. Again, Kobe dead at 41. 41 the 13th prime number. LA equals 41. If you're new here, just a quick tutorial on how Gematria works. The first 3 years that I taught this knowledge, all I knew was that LA equaled 13 and 4. I didn't know about the 41 or 14. LA equals 13 if you just use the alphabetic order. A's 1, B's 2, C's 3, up to Z, the 26th letter is 26. That makes L the 12th letter using the alphabetic order. A the first adds up to 13. In numerology, L the 12th letter becomes 1 plus 2 is 3. So L becomes 3 instead of 12. You're just using the numerology. For example, in this cipher, Z is 8 because Z's the 26th letter. 2 plus 6 is 8. But LA 13 and 4, those were the patterns I always noticed with LA. Well, when you run the alphabetic order in reverse, LA is also 41, which is the 13th prime. And LA and 13 are so significant in sports. They come together so much. You remember the first Sunday night football game of this season, Dallas and LA? I think it was the first one this year, if I remember right. But it was on September 13th, and it was Dallas and LA. And LA got their 13th win in the series, and it came on a late controversial pass interference call blamed on number 13 that changed the outcome of the game. So Dallas 13 in what's considered the most pure cipher. Dallas is also 41, the 13th prime, but man, those cities in 13 play so hard in sports. And, Kobe dead at 41, his daughter dead at 13, added up 54. They were dead the Sunday before Super Bowl 54. Again, Kobe being Bryant, 54. But again, this is how Gematria works. Alphabetic order, forwards and backwards. There's so much to say about all these numbers up here for Kobe being Bryant. He died 135 days from Kanye West's birthday in Calabasas, where Kanye West has a home. They were in the Black Mamba film together, which ends with an exploding helicopter. Kobe Bryant died 243 days after Jerry West's 81st birthday, the man who played for the Lakers, who's been a big part of the Lakers always, and who is the logo of the NBA. And of course, Kobe, his career high is 81 points. But all these ciphers matter. Kobe Bryant, 41, 157. Dead at 41 on his 157th day of his age. And there's so much to say about 113 and 58 too, but we've covered it too many times. And again, If you really want to know about all the riddles with Kobe's death, well, I shouldn't say all, because I'm always learning more, but if you want to know about a whole lot of riddles with Kobe's death and what's really being done in this world, you definitely want to read my new book. But LA 41, right? And this Saturday, Father-Daughter Day, from LeBron's birthday to this Saturday will be his 41st week of his age. They call him King James. You know, he won that championship for the Cavs on the real King James's birthday, coming back from down 3-1. People don't realize that in history, King James had a son who was King Charles, and those who fought for him in the English Civil War were called Cavaliers. So you got King James playing on the Cavs, historical riddle. But this Saturday, Father-Daughter Day, Kobe and Gianna. Also this Saturday, it's the day leaving 81 days left in the year. Remember, we call that the ritual number 2. Ritual equals 81 forwards and backwards. A couple years back, August 1st, 2018, they just went crazy that day with 81 stories. Obama endorsed 81 candidates. Urban Meyer got in trouble, some scandal with his assistant coach, and I believe he'd coached 81 games with the team at the time, and there was a few other things, but it was just like, by the end of the day, I was like, can you believe all these stories where they're just putting 81 right in the article on 8-1? They just treat people like they're blind. But we call that the ritual number. So Father-Daughter Day falls on the day leaving 81 days left in the year this year. Kobe Bean Bryant, career high 81 in his 666th game, but who's counting? And you know what's interesting about that 666th game where he scored his career high 81? The rest of his team scored 41 that day, Kobe Bryant 41. That was done on January 22nd, Satanic 122, 122 points in the game, scored his 666th game. But look at this. If you write out Mark of the Beast, it equals 54 and 81. You see that? And it also equals Kobe Bean Bryant. 54 and 81. And again, there's just so much more to it. In my first book, in the 3rd chapter, I talk about the number of the beast and the rituals they've done with LeBron James all throughout his career with the number of the beast. Doing it again this year. The last game that LeBron won was his 258th career game, where they went up 3-1. Yesterday was his 259th game to tie Derek Fisher for most games all time in the postseason. But if you write out number of the beast, it equals 66, 258, 87. Again, LeBron's last one in the finals was in his 258th game, but notice LeBron is 66, Lakers is 66, LeBron James is 66. Again, number of the beast is 66, 258, 87. James is 87. And anyway, it's just amazing how they just pull off these rituals year after year. But look at this also. From Kobe's death to this Father-Daughter Day, Game 6, it's 37 weeks. 37 weeks. And remember, he died on the 37-year anniversary of Bear Bryant, the great football coach. And Bryant is 26 in the most pure cipher, 37 when you turn it around. So dead on the 26th, the day they debuted the Black Mamba jerseys. And on the 37-year anniversary of Bear Bryant, the Alabama football coach, considered the greatest college football coach of all time. And he died in 83. Bear Bryant, football's 83. The song Murder by Numbers came out in 83. But, yeah, again, these ciphers, forwards and backwards. You see the rituals. And you know how the jersey the Black Mamba jersey debuted on January 26, 2018, 2 years before his death, the day of? You see how when you write out 2, it's 58? Notice Los Angeles Lakers is 58. Notice Kobe Bryant is 58. Part of what was creepy about yesterday's game that the Heat won is it was 157 days after Vanessa Bryant's birthday. And it was 257 days after Kobe's death. And I've been teaching people the last few years. It seems like because we've been exposing this for 5 and 6 years, it seems like the controllers of the league are getting better at double coding their riddles. It's very interesting. It's like, how are they doing this now? It was so much easier 3 or 4 years ago. But I've also just been noticing, but in that same period of time, I've noticed how in series, it seems like they'll structure a riddle so that a series can end in like game 5 or game 6, or game 6 or game 7. Some years we've been right on, where we've said it's ending game 7. Like last year, before the postseason began, we said Nationals will beat the Astros in the World Series in Game 7. We had a whole bunch of reasons why that Game 7 that we've been documenting since before the beginning of the season. We followed a riddle all year last year. That's why we were so certain about it before the postseason when we began. We said Nationals over Astros. And because we had that confidence, there was a gentleman who put a parlay together with a $5 bill that paid over $10,000. That's the value of this knowledge. Allows you to see very specific things if you find the thread and follow it correctly. But anyway, there was seemingly a good riddle for the series to potentially end in game 5. And that's the other thing about game 5. The thing that's unique about game 5 is in the most pure cipher, it even equals 41. And LeBron's next win, what is it again? I think it's their 68th win of the season, the Lakers. They could have got their 68th win of the season in Game 5, and championship is 68, and basketball 68. The other year when the Warriors swept the Cavs, we called that to be a sweep because we saw how Game 4 was scheduled on June 8th, 6-8. Basketball championship sweep, all 68. That happened that year. Again, that seemed really clear because the Cavs team was terrible that year. I mean, it was just a joke, and the Warriors team was so much better. But again, that's the power of this knowledge. So anyway, sometimes if you know the riddle well enough, you can really see it. Now, something I didn't know before Game 5 was that this Sunday was Father-Daughter Day, because prior to today, I had never heard of Father-Daughter Day. And shout out to the person who left the comment that this Sunday is Father-Daughter Day, because it got me to look into it. And I said, wow, this is crazy. Father-Daughter Day, Kobe Gianna. Dead at 41. Just happens to fall on LeBron's 41st week of his age. And the day leaving 81 days left in the year. It's just unbelievable, you know? So anyway, from their death on January 26th to October 11th is 37 weeks on the nose. Bryant, 37. Los Angeles, 37. Remember, Kobe Bryant, Staples Center, accident. They're all 157, which is the 37th prime. And that's not even... That's not even the fifth of it. There's so many 157 riddles with Kobe's death. It's sick. And the books he put out, I cover them in here. It's all in here. But it's just amazing how well structured and planned out Kobe's reported demise was. I still wonder if he's really dead. He could be. I don't know. I don't know that. But I can expose how well planned and coordinated and, well, knowing they made it be that this would happen before it happened, through the cartoon on Comedy Central, to the Black Mamba thing, to even more than that. Again, remember, this is all synced up with Will Smith, who went from Philly to L.A. and The Fresh Prince, and his film I Am Legend, because Kobe said he wanted to be immortalized as a legend when he was early in his career. He told Tracy McGrady he wanted to die young. And then ESPN, the day after his death, had that picture of him on the front page, big zoom in of his face, grinning, with the headline, Kobe always liked to control the narrative. And it's like, what's that even mean? That photo of all photos, like with a sinister grin with that, it's like, are they just making fun of us? I mean, they are in a way, whether Kobe's dead or not. But it's just so sick. And again, Kobe, dead on his 157th day of his age, also 5 months and 4 days into his age. Kobe Bean Bryant, 54, 41 plus 13, his age plus his daughter's age, 54, the Sunday before Super Bowl 54. Patrick Mahomes, 41st pass of the game, was his 26th completion to number 26 to take the lead for the first time in the game. Oh yeah, and here's something that just blew my mind. I've been talking about how if LeBron wins the finals since before the playoffs started, that he would get his 172nd win this year. And the Jesuit motto ad Merum de Gloriam equals 172. And Jordan's birthday is 17/2. And Jordan played for Chicago. And If LeBron wins the finals well, you know what? Actually, now that I think about it, I guess they could do this either way, but LeBron can only win and get the 172nd win, but Chicago equals 46 and 37. The Chicago Bears won their only Super Bowl with 46 points with the revolutionary 4-6 defense. Thursday Night Football, they gave Tom Brady his 46th career road win. Or not win, but loss on a Thursday, which also equals 46 and 35 like Chicago. But I suppose if LeBron lost, he'd be 3-7 in finals. And Los Angeles is also 37, and Bryant's 37. But anyway, I was going to say, if LeBron becomes 4-6 in finals, which is what I've been anticipating, big Chicago number, even bigger than 37. And again, he'd get his 172nd win, like Jordan's birthday, 17/2, because it's the Jesuits who run all this, and that motto, ad Merum de Gloriam, that's like their boss motto. Look, if you just search, what is the Jesuit motto? And Google would know because they celebrate their birthday as the Jesuits. It's funny that it's referencing Seattle U too, one of the nation's 27 Jesuit universities. But what's interesting is in recent weeks, Google has subbed out the spelling of this for the less common spelling. This is the more common spelling right here. Ad Merum de Gloriam, 172. And again, Kobe died while traveling from Catholic Mass. Remember, Catholic Mass is 201, like the Jesuit order, like the name of his production company is 201. Again, Jesuits running the show. But LeBron's next playoff win, which will be to win the finals, is 172, and Father-Daughter Day equals 172. It also equals 89. Remember how when he won on the real King James's birthday, the Warriors went down with 89 points? King James, 89. He's 35 years old this year. He became 15-4 in the playoffs when he won Game 3 in that Number of the Beast ritual. Jimmy Butler had 35 to keep him alive in the last game. A lot of 154 rituals in these finals. Lillard scored 154 points in the last 3 regular season games to get the Blazers to face the Lakers. Toronto Raptors is 154. Been talking about this for years with LeBron and the Raptors. But Nick Nurse sat out his second to last regular season game, so he'd have 154 games coached in the regular season to end the year, in the year of King James. But if you caught it, there was also an 82 in Father-Daughter Day, like how there's normally 42 games in a season. Bryant's 42, Father-Daughter Day, 82. The word game itself is 82, so 82 game season. Pro basketball, 82. Did you notice game was 26, like Bryant's 26, like Jordan's 26, like God's 26? Again, for many, the game is God. But in that Father-Daughter Day, you have the win number that LeBron can get, you have another tribute to Bryant, and you have a tribute to King James. So, here's where it can get tricky. If LeBron loses one more playoff game, he'll have 89 playoff losses. His next win is 172, which is your most straightaway cipher. His next loss is 89. And my initial thought, what I told people when this series began, was that I thought the Lakers would win in either Game 5 or Game 7. But what I didn't know when I said that was about Father-Daughter Day. And I'm just like, oh my God, Father-Daughter Day. This couldn't get more ritualistic. So anyway, I just want to make sure everybody knows about this. But here's what I also want to say about Game 7. Let's just say LeBron picks up his 89th playoff loss. Here's what's up with Game 7. Jeanie Buss, she became the owner of the Lakers this year. Because remember, Joanne Buss, who was the owner, who was the mother, died 41 days before Kobe Bryant died. We covered this the day of Kobe's death. We said, look at this. Look at the significance of Kobe being dead at 41. And by the way, in my first book, you guys, I wrote all about Kobe, 41, the Lakers, 157. Wrote about all this stuff, you know. This is before Kobe died. I wrote this book after Kobe died. This is my second book. But it's just, anyway, look at this, though. So this is the new owner of the team, Jeanie Buss. She's 59 years old right now, right? That's the 17th prime number. And from her birthday to what's scheduled for Game 7 is 17 days. And of course, NBA is 17. And this is what I said when LeBron signed with the Lakers. Because at first they reported his contract is $153.3 million. And he signed on July 1st, which in the majority of the world's written 1/7 like 17. And 153 is the 17th triangular number. I said, LeBron, look for him in his 17th season, the year he turns 35, which is this year. It's his 17th season right now. He's 35. I said, look for him to bring home the Lakers their 17th championship. I said, this just looks like a slap in the face riddle. And, he's one game away from doing it. And if it does go to Game 7, it really is 17 days after the 59th birthday of the current owner of the Lakers. And again, 59 is the 17th prime. And for all these years, we've continued to expose rituals like this, predict things correctly. When we have gone astray, we've been able to look at it and say, oh, look at this piece of information we didn't have. Like where I've missed things, it's because I didn't know something like Father-Daughter Day. Were you aware of Father-Daughter Day? For all the fathers out there, you better take care of your daughter this Sunday. Father-Daughter Day. I didn't know. But, again, it's just like, when these announcers are saying they couldn't have scripted it any better and snickering about things like there's some sort of inside joke, you better believe there is. Joe Buck, every game, treats the audience like they're really dumb. Like he's just born into it, raised to be a prick. And I'm sure that's exactly what it was with Joe Buck. So, that dude that looks like a weasel on Fox Sports, what's his name? Nick Wright? The other year when he was bashing this work on Twitter, trying to make fun of it. I mean, come on. Who put Nick Wright on the TV? Dude looks just like a weasel. What's interesting about him? So, anyway. This is the beauty of this knowledge, but sometimes the way they lay down riddles, it's like, wow, it feels like they have all their bases covered. Maybe they're just doing this one based on how much money they can suck in. Like, Vegas made a ton of money off the Lakers in Game 5. A ton. Maybe if the betting wasn't that way, maybe they would have wrapped it up in Game 5. The riddle was there. The riddle was there. It was 257 days after Kobe's death. Remember, he died on the 257th day of the Boulé's age. So had the Lakers won Game 5, it would have been 257 days after Kobe's death. The 55th prime number, his memorial on the 55th day of the year, his wife's birthday, May 5th, 5/5. It would have ended 157 days after his wife's birthday, Vanessa. May 5th to the Game 5 was 157 days. There's even more. There was a lot of things that were really interesting. But now that the Game 5 scenario's passed and knowing about Game 6... what they could do on Father-Daughter Day. I mean, it's just... So... But then again, I just wonder if it just comes down to money. Like, if Vegas is like, well, we can just net out so much tonight, we might as well just wrap it up here. They're like, you know what? We can milk them tonight, and I think we can get even bigger payout on Game 7. But I don't... One thing I don't think they do, I don't think they... I could be wrong about this. I don't think they flip-flop who the champion is. They can mess with the series and does it end in Game 5 or Game 7? But one thing I don't think that they do is I don't think they flip-flop the champions. I could be wrong about that. And there are some people in my ear saying that they're going to pay LeBron back for winning on the real King James's birthday. Now in his King James year, he's going to have to let the other team come back 3-1. If you're feeling that, I'll tell you one thing about why that would be the case that would make sense. If the Lakers, and I don't think this is going to happen. So I think the Lakers will win and get the 17. But let's just say I'm wrong. Maybe they're like, shit, we got a riddle here with... Here's what it'd have to be. If the Lakers lost the finals, they'd have to lose Game 6 and Game 7. They would be 15-7 in the playoffs. That's a bit like 157, right? And they would stay on 16 championships against the Heat. But see, it's more like they come in to face the Heat with the 16 connection because that's the number they're on. And for all of you who watched sports yesterday, I'll tell you when I got a bad feeling about the Lakers winning. It was when the Yankee game started, and the big story was that the Yankees were wearing a number 16 patch in tribute to Whitey Ford. Because that was they put a big 16 up on the screen on ESPN. And I said, ugh, that is not the number I want to see today. Today's supposed to be about 17, not staying on 16. And sure enough, the Lakers lost that game, and for now they're still on 16 championships facing the Heat. And notice Heat's also 74. Of course, it's the 74th NBA season. They're playing in that building. Watch this. I'll show you the name of the building that they're playing in. We talked about this months ago. The name of the building they're playing in, the ESPN Wide World of Sports Complex, that is equating to 373, which is the 74th prime number. To conclude the 74th NBA season, they play in the building with the clear 74 connection. And, yeah, the way that... Oh, that was the other thing I wanted to say about Game 5. The other thing that was favorable about Game 5 is it had 59 date numerology. Oh, it had beyond that, too. It also had this. Los Angeles is 109, right? The Lakers could have won the finals on 10/9. And again, it was 59 date numerology, which is the 17th prime number. They would have got their 17th championship. And they would have won 4-1. And realize the Lakers' next win against the Heat is their 41st win all-time against the Heat franchise. And to verify these kind of things, just type in Lakers Heat head-to-head. There's a website called Lando Basketball, and it is a great website. And notice at first it says head-to-head in regular season. So these are the Heat and Lakers all-time regular season games, 37-27. And a very interesting record, because notice in the most pure cipher, the alphabetic order with the rules numerology, again, this is the most important cipher, even in sports. Miami is 27, and Los Angeles is 37. So 37-27 in the regular season. Then they go to meet each other in the finals. And right now it is 3-2. So that if you were to add up the all-time games, the Lakers are now at 40 wins because you'd add their postseason wins in addition to the regular season. Here, this website will have both. Whoops, no, it's not the same website. Let me see. Well, let's see. Head-to-head, postseason. Let's see if they got it. This is it right here. Okay. So it's got the regular season again, 37-27, and then in the playoffs, it's got the Lakers with 3 more wins and the Heat with 2, right? So 3 plus 37 is 40. 27 plus 2 is 29. And that's why, I mean, it also looks good for the Lakers, because it's so much about Kobe and 41 and LA and the King and the year of King James. And again, just with the alphabetic order, King is 41. When you run the alphabetic order in reverse, LA is 41. In the most pure cipher, Kobe Bryant's 41. So, Lakers, 41st win, major Kobe Bryant tribute. Do they do it on Father-Daughter Day? While I'm at it, let me think about the word daughter. Daughter's 42. If the Lakers... Actually, you see how daughter is 84 as well? Sunday's 84. Catholic Church is 132. But if the Lakers won 4-2 on Father-Daughter Day, remember how when their helicopter crashed, they reported that he crashed in the 4200 block, even though he crashed in the middle of the field? I was like, why are they reporting that? Crashed in the 4200 block? How was the middle of the field the 4200 block? But Sunday's also 84. Of course, Jesuits 84. That's who runs it. Jesuits Catholic Sunday. So, again, they gave us the language, the calendar, coded it all out. They've been playing these games for hundreds of years, since way before the NBA existed. But, yeah, so that's my answer to why the Lakers didn't close out in Game 5. I think they very well could have. But again, you look at these other things they got scripted. I'm getting more convinced as I become more seasoned at this, just looking and understanding the riddles better, that it's like, okay, they lay out some scenarios for some of these things. I think sometimes it's set in stone, but I think an NBA series, if they just had like the killer payout on a game and they could end a series there and they're like, you know what, if we just take all this money tonight, we don't even need the last 2 games. I think it probably could be like that. But, yeah, again, you just saw why. Father-daughter day. You tell me. Coincidence? So, for all my people in LA, I hope you guys, I guess it's not even just LA, just everywhere. Everybody follows the NBA and the Lakers. There's Lakers fans everywhere. I just hope you guys are, share these things with people. These are a lot of coincidences to dismiss. Father-daughter day. If the Lakers win the finals on Father-daughter day, when one of their greatest players of all time, the story in the season is that the father and daughter died, Kobe Bryant and Gianna Bryant, a day after LeBron passed Kobe in points scored in Philadelphia, Kobe's hometown. I mean, you got to ask that person, where do the coincidences end? I bet that same guy, if he came home from work, and I hate to make this the example, but just to make a point, if he came home and he noticed, let's set up the scenario better. You and a guy are friends, and let's just say your friend's married and he has a wife. He comes home one day, he opens the front door, he sees your shoes and jacket there, he hears all this moaning in the back room, and he comes in and you're in the room naked and, the wife's in the bed naked. And the dude's like, what the fuck's going on? And you just said to him, oh, dude, don't even worry about it. Everything is just a coincidence. You think he'd just be like, oh, never mind. It's all a coincidence. No. But somehow with information like this, it's pretty much the same thing. It's like an impossible coincidence. It's like, come on. Coincidence is not the explanation. This shit is so well planned and scripted. Again, you have to think about the depth of what we're showing. For this to line up with Jeanie Buss, for Joanne Buss to be able to die 41 days before Kobe Bryant, all this shit, it shows that it's so planned out, that these families are so ritualistic, that they are birthing and just like setting a chessboard for things that are planned and scripted way out. And they are. That's what I'm saying, because all roads lead to Rome. When these people came over here, the Jesuits, having all this knowledge that's thousands of years old, knowing how to control populaces, propaganda, distraction, deception, fear, they came over here with a game plan. These sports games are the Roman circus, Why aren't the men having a revolution on Sunday? Because they're all on the couch watching the game. Drunk and getting fatter by the minute. You know what I mean? So, this is how they do it, though. This is how they do it. You think Jeanie Buss is going to have number 17 by Game 7? By the conclusion of Game 7? We'll find out soon enough. So, till next time, Truth Seeker.